Hey everyone, welcome back to Williamson Ridge Outdoors. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Echo CS-346 and actually just going to be changing the primer bulb on it. And while we're at it, I'll probably go ahead and change the chain and stuff on it too, because the chain that's on there is not very good. But we'll get right into it. And first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take the chainsaw over and clean it up real good. So as you can see, this thing's pretty dirty. And I'm going to go through and use some purple power on it and try to get a bunch of this grease and stuff cleaned off of it, or bar oil is what mostly that is, and sawdust mix. But I'm going to spray it down with some purple power, and the purple power ought to break all that grease and stuff down to where that most of it will end up just coming off just by spraying it with the hose. So after you get your saw cleaned up, we're just going to pull off the front cover here. So if you look at the way that this thing is made, the new primer bulb has got these two little clips on it. You can see these little, one on each side, and that thing just goes down in and then clips into place. So we're going to take our needle nose pliers and reach up in there and get a hold of that clip. But we just squeeze the two clips together, and then that thing just pops right out of there. We're just going to push it or pull it, however we can get a hold of it, up through the hole. And now the fuel line right here on the carburetor is loose. And the other fuel line that goes down to the tank, you just kind of work it and pull it loose as you come out with it, which it looks like it's pretty snug. So we're going to take our needle nose and kind of just work it a little bit and see if we can't get it to pull loose. There we go. So there we have our primer bulb out. So one thing that you do want to pay attention to is which side your black hose is on, which is the one that connects to your fuel tank, and which side your clear hose is on that connects to your carburetor. And as you can see in this one, the black one's actually connected to the middle connection, or the connection that's closest to the middle of the purge pump or primer bulb. And then the carburetor side is connected to the outside edge of your purge pump. So when we put our lines back on, we want to make sure that they go in the same ones, or they hook up in the same place on your chainsaw. But I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and replace these two hoses. With the kit, it came with some fuel lines, and all I'm going to do is just take the new hose and hold it up here and measure it the same length, and then pop the two new hoses on there. And I'd say so now we're going to take our fuel line that we just cut to length, and they just slide back on our little fittings here. So we're going to slide that one on. We're going to slide the one that goes to the carburetor on. Just kind of work it in there a little bit. And then as we put it back in the hole, then we just want to make sure that our fuel lines are feeding through the direction or the side that they were on to begin with. So as we're going in, you want to make sure that your clips are lined up with the openings for the clips in your saw, and then your lines are going kind of in the where they would line up with the fitting they're supposed to go on. And you line up your clips, you push it down till it clicks into place, and then we just hook up our fuel lines. Make sure it's slid on there all the way. Make sure there's no kink in your fuel line. Make sure it makes a nice smooth turn so that you're not kinking up and keeping fuel from going into your purge pump. And then we're just going to take and connect the bottom one. Same way with it. Just make sure that you're on all the way, and then make sure there's no kinks or tight bends in the line. And then you can test it out and push the pump, see if it starts drawing fuel, and it does. Brings it right up and fills up the purge pump. So now you just put your air filter back in, which the one that I had, like I say, that for some reason I've misplaced it, but I took this one over and used degreaser on it and cleaned it up real good, and it's still not perfect, but I ordered some more filters, so when they come in, and I'll just replace it with a new one. I don't even see how this thing was running really, because it was so caked up with sawdust and oil. I don't know, but that ought to help it out a lot until I get the new filter in. But it's simple. You just take and slide it into the opening. It only fits in there one way, as the rubber gasket around through here seals up the opening. And same way with your cover. You can see the notch on this side matches the notch on this side of your saw. So that pretty much does it. You just finish it off by putting your bar and your chain back on, and like I say, in my case, I'm going to go ahead and put on a new chain, and she's fixed up. So that pretty much wraps it up with the purge pump on the Echo CS-346. Man, that's a great little chainsaw. I've had this thing for probably 15 years, and maybe longer than that. I mean, it's been around for a pretty good while. And it's kind of ironic because the other day I was at a steel dealership, and we was talking about you know, a few different chainsaws and stuff, and I was telling him about my Echo and what good service I've had out of it. But I was thinking that maybe in the future, if something happened with it, then I would maybe be going to a steel chainsaw. And he kind of acted like, man, what, you mean you've never had any problem with an Echo chainsaw? Well, no, I haven't, and I've got a couple Echo chainsaws, and they've been fantastic. So, but I was telling him, I said, I haven't even done anything to it. I've never changed a spark plug. my brother owned it for several years before I had it, and he never done anything to it. He didn't even look at the air filter, and until this video, I've never looked at the air filter either, and I found out that it's full of oil and sawdust both, and I don't even see how it was running because of all the junk that was built up in there. So I'm glad that this happened, but I told the steel guy, never had any problems with it whatsoever. Not even the purge pump has gone bad on this saw. And it was probably a week later, and the purge pump went bad on it. So, I don't know. Maybe it's a sign, but I don't know what it is. But anyways, it did go bad. It was super easy to change. No big deal. The saw is right back to where it was. It runs perfect. And so I'm extremely happy with it. But if you like videos like this, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Also, if you'd like to see a more in-depth video on this particular saw and seeing it in use, leave that in the comments. Or if you have any questions about this video, feel free to leave that in the comments. But anyways, make sure to remember, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. Thanks for watching.